Genesis 6 briefly mentions these sons of God who took human wives, but this cryptic verse hides one of the Bible's most shocking mysteries. Who were these watchers? What knowledge did they give to humanity? And why did God declare judgment so swiftly? Tonight we uncover the watchers, angels who broke divine law, created giants, and left a legacy that still shapes Scripture today. This is the hidden history of Genesis 6. Most Christians skim Genesis 6 and assume it's just a brief story about human wickedness. But the Book of Enoch expands this narrative in incredible detail. It tells us the sons of God were actually watchers, a class of angels assigned to observe creation. They were entrusted with divine wisdom, but betrayed their high station. They descended to earth and taught humans forbidden knowledge, sorcery, astrology, metallurgy, and occult practices. Their offspring with human women were the Nephilim, fearsome giants who brought chaos and violence to the earth. Understanding the watchers completely changes how we interpret not just Genesis 6, but also key passages like Jude 6-7 and 2 Peter 2 verse 4-5, which speak of angels being cast into darkness. It adds a profound new layer to the prophetic warnings about God's judgment. So who were these watchers, and what was their original purpose? The Book of Enoch explains that God sent 200 angels to watch over humanity. Their duty was simply observation and guidance, not direct interference. But their leader, an angel named Semyasa, persuaded the others to descend to earth and take wives for themselves. Their rebellion was motivated by pure desire, a lust for women, power, and the influence that comes with sharing forbidden knowledge. The Watchers represent a cosmic lawbreaker archetype. They knew God's divine order perfectly, yet they consciously defied it. By giving humanity forbidden knowledge, they corrupted creation from the inside out. This act of rebellion is directly referenced in the New Testament. Jude 6 says, "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day." They abandoned their divine station, and the consequences were catastrophic. The Book of Enoch gives us a detailed list of the transgressions of the Watchers. They didn't just break one rule. They systematically dismantled God's intended order for humanity. They taught astrology and astronomy, not for wonder, but for predicting cosmic cycles outside of God's authority. They introduced sorcery and divination, teaching humans how to manipulate hidden forces. They revealed the secrets of metallurgy and weaponry, leading to the forging of swords and tools for war. They even taught the use of cosmetics and charms, leading humanity into vanity and deception. This knowledge was forbidden for a clear reason. It corrupted humanity to its core, empowered pride, and enabled unimaginable violence. The Book of Enoch says the earth itself groaned under the weight of their corruption. The Watchers' actions forced God to intervene. The Great Flood wasn't just a response to human sin. It was a necessary cleansing of a world tainted by angelic rebellion. And what about the offspring of the Watchers? They were the Nephilim, the giants described as violent and oppressive beings. Their immense strength and size created chaos wherever they went. They spread sin rapidly among humans, becoming a living, breathing symbol of divine rebellion. The Nephilim were not just a physical threat. They were a spiritual one. Their very existence demonstrated how sin multiplies exponentially when divine law is broken. Genesis 6 verse 4 confirms there were giants in the earth in those days, but it's Enoch that provides their names, their specific roles, and their monstrous deeds, information that is completely missing from our modern Bibles. Faced with this rampant corruption, God declares judgment. In the Book of Enoch, the sentence is severe and specific. The watchers are to be bound in Tartarus, a dark abyss, until the final day of judgment. The Nephilim, their giant offspring, will perish in the waters of the flood. Their physical influence would be erased, but the memory of their transgression would remain as a warning. This judgment wasn't carried out randomly. Heaven's law is structured and enforced. The archangels Uriel, Michael, and Gabriel were tasked with executing God's decrees. Uriel oversaw the binding of the rebellious angels. Michael led the heavenly armies against the forces of corruption on earth, and Gabriel announced the coming judgment to the righteous, like Noah. This shows a divine government in action, responding to a cosmic crisis. Though punished, the watchers left behind an enduring legacy and powerful lessons. Their story teaches us that knowledge, while powerful, can be incredibly dangerous when detached from wisdom and divine purpose. It shows that obedience to God is non-negotiable, even for the highest of angels. And it proves that spiritual corruption can and does have devastating physical consequences. Even today, the influence of their story is echoed in myths, legends, and theological debates around the world. Enoch's writings preserve their story for those willing to look beyond the surface of the biblical text. The Book of Enoch also describes a precise cosmic timeline. The watchers are bound for a specific period, 70 generations, until the final day of judgment. The flood is a timed event designed to cleanse the earth of their offspring and influence. Enoch's visions also reveal that heaven maintains a perfect cosmic order, governing time, light, and the celestial cycles. The Watcher's rebellion and subsequent punishment demonstrate that divine law extends far beyond earth. No one, not even angels, is above accountability. So what are the modern implications of this ancient story? Understanding the Watchers forces us to re-evaluate our view of Scripture. It suggests that the account in Genesis 6 is not an allegory, but a literal description of a historical event. It reveals that many biblical prophecies assume a background knowledge of this angelic rebellion. The Nephilim were not just symbolic figures. They were the real physical consequences of heavenly law being broken. This ancient history also informs our modern faith. It underscores the seriousness of human corruption and reminds us that knowledge alone is not neutral. Our intent behind seeking it matters. Most importantly, it affirms that God's justice is absolute, structured, and inevitable. The Watchers were angels who chose to break divine law. Their offspring, the Nephilim, wreaked havoc on the pre-flood world. The Book of Enoch preserves this hidden history, giving us their names, their deeds, and the details of their punishment. It stands as both a stark warning and a profound lesson. The divine order of the cosmos cannot be ignored without consequence. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If you want to continue exploring the Bible's greatest mysteries, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out our full Mysteries of the Bible Revealed playlist to understand more about angels, watchers, and the hidden truths of Scripture. We'll see you in the next video.